Feel incredible!
It's not a cartoon, it's anime!
Welcome to another episode of Animeshun. Squire's back in the building. All right, we got myself, Brennan, Ice, Rob out here in these streets.
What the fuck is Brennan doing?
I don't even know what he's doing, but look at that shirt. What does that shirt say? Does that shirt say Krillin it?
The whale? Wait, you get that from the
Not
whale?
the same Krillin.
Krillin
Not the same Krillin, but
they
same spelling. So that works.
It works. Yeah. It works on so many levels. Because I love whales.
Oh man,
it says
that's
Krillin.
funny.
I'm just.
Do you?
Yo, did you not hear like when I said it? I was like, yo, they're like, yo, what did you want to do for your birthday? Like, I want to go whale watching. Like, that's what I want to do.
I didn't know you said you wanted to. I thought they just took you whale watching.
I go whale watching like once a month normally outside of pandemic. Straight up.
Once a month?
My original.
What?
We've known you for all these years, and those guys longer than I have, and you've never
what's there to talk
mentioned
about?
that.
What am I saying? Like, when does that come up? Like, by the way, guys, when I was whale watching this weekend, like there's nothing. It's like I go and do it.
I mean, you always busy.
I feel like Brennan does whale watching like on his stomach like this. He just
with his feet and kicking his feet.
If whales will come closer to me, if I did that questionable position, then I would do it.
Questionable.
I mean, that'll be super dope. Well, yeah, it is Brennan's birthday weekend. I think your birthday is actually tomorrow, though.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah.
So I have one gift. Anyways, y'all not even gonna say happy birthday, hilarious. But I have one. Oh, thank you.
We say happy birthday. It's tomorrow. We're saving it.
Ice can't.
Okay.
Ice can't say it this episode.
I already know what it is.
He can't say it this episode. He can't say it. That's all I want. That's all I want. I don't need a cake.
I knew that was your gift, bro. I knew when you said
I don't need
that.
nothing. Just Ice. Just shut the fuck up and don't say it this episode. That's what I want. That would make me happy for my birthday.
You know what? I want. All right.
You know what?
Say it.
I mean,
you know, I ain't gonna say it.
Fucking anime podcast.
He didn't have to.
You should have said
nobody
nobody say it.
Next year.
Loophole.
I fucking knew it.
Brennan's part of that. That's what Brennan wanted. Brennan didn't care if anybody else said it. He just didn't want Ice to say it. He didn't mind anybody else saying it. But
that's all good. I can give you that present because you had the greatest birthday.
Faked him out. Keeping him guessing.
Well, yeah. So it is Brennan's birthday weekend. So I know he did some things he enjoyed. He got some new J's for his birthday. So that's super dope. And this week we are ending off on his pick. So it's perfect timing. We end off on his pick. The last 5 episodes of
I planned those out
on his birthday weekend.
You think you were playing it?
Feel good anime.
He's like, I'm not watching the 12 episode show. No, we're gonna end on my fucking birthday month, and I'm gonna give the last word. So yeah, it is his birthday month. I mean birthday week.
How old are you?
And
42.
Brennan?
That's not true. That's not true.
I think Brennan's a year younger than I am. So
42.
34? What that? 33, 34?
Okay.
Okay,
Rob
buddy.
is over it. Rob is like, come on, bro.
Okay.
Don't be a dick.
No way.
Rob is not here for it.
So we doing this podcast. We do one-off, we do debates, we talk our ish on here, and this week we're gonna end off on Iron Blooded Orphans season 2.
Look at Rob, he's getting ready.
Episodes 20 through.
Can't wait to dive into this feel-good show for Brennan's birthday.
Episodes 20 through 25 for season 2, or overall
46.
episodes 45 through 50. And man, go ahead. Let's. You said what?
46 through 50.
Yeah, 46 through 50.
I'm sorry, 46 through 50 and 21 through 25. My fault. My
21.
Keeping him honest.
So recap time. Rob, go ahead and lead us off.
All right, we'll get into the recap. After failing to stop her from blocking Shino's shot, Mika chases Julieta, and she's just no match for her skill and rage. He crushes her cockpit and wants to finish her off, but Orga's like, hey, everybody come back. We got to retreat so we can get away from their other ship that's about to explode. So Mika kicks Julieta off as the second Tekkadan ship explodes and creates this huge smoke screen, allowing them to escape. Elsewhere, McGillis and Galeo face off, accusing basically each other of being crazy, but they're evenly matched until Galeo pulls out. He's got this ace up his sleeve, like a giant drill in his knee that he almost drives right into Bile, but Izrugi, his loyal assistant, jumps between them and takes the drill to the chest. He tells McGillis to get out of there, and as he dies, he explains to Galeo, how he believes in McGillis's ideals because he's a nobody from the colonies, and somebody born into such a powerful family as Galeo would never really understand what they're trying to do. But, Galeo still thinks, the dream is a lie. As Tekkadan retreats, Dermo, one of the human debris that came over with Aston, is badly wounded. However, they and McGillis manage to escape, but they're dealt a crushing blow, losing this battle. Later, Galeo reports to Rustal, he was able to find and save Julieta's life, but, was worried because they lost track of the enemy. But Rustal's not worried, knows exactly where they're headed. And as Tekkadan recovers, some like Zach are, wondering if it's time to call it quits. But some of the other guys, Dane is just like, not all of us have homes to go back to. So as long as we're still alive, we're continuing this fight. Among the wounded, Derma has survived, but he's lost his arm. He basically can't fight at this point. And he basically just wishes he had died in the fight. But Akihiro, sees him there and thanks him for surviving, reminding him, he's worth more than just his ability to fight. They share a last name now. They're all family there. Orga meets up with McGillis to discuss their next steps, and McGillis wants to have round 2 against Rustal above Mars. He thinks it's going to give him a home field advantage, but Orga's like, nothing's more important to me than saving the lives of my crew at this point. McGillis says it's unlike him not to fight until the end, but don't waste the sacrifices of the men you've already lost. But they still have time for Orga to make a decision. They're a ways away from Mars. Meanwhile, Galeo's checking in on Julieta while she heals, and she remarks that Mika's inhuman abilities, but says that that's encouraged her to do all she can to get stronger through her own abilities. Stay human rather than turning herself into some kind of killing machine.
Can I just say this real quick? I do not like her.
No.
Yeah.
I just
She's
don't
a tough
like
character
her.
to like.
She was in that damn sand, that sand tank, whatever that shit was called from Dragon Ball.
Hyperbolic.
No,
well, that's not the hyperbolic, is it?
Like they be floating in there
a-
healing with the mask on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that Frieza
I forgot what it's
Force
called.
healing thing.
Yeah.
Later, Orga mourns over the dead with Eugene and wonders, if there's any way to go back now. But Yamagi overhears this and calls Orga a coward. Eugene follows after him and agrees, he felt similarly and tries to comfort him by telling him, Shino knew that he had feelings for him. And even if he didn't feel the same way, he wanted to fight for Yamagi and Tekkadan to support a place where all different kinds of people could find belonging. And it does bring Yamagi to some sort of peace and want to protect that same family. Orga then sits down with Mika and apologizes for his failure, but Mika says it's really on him. He was the one that wasn't able to carry out Orga's vision. But Orga says that's not true. It's not him that led them to this place. He says the words, but in reality, it's the soldiers of Tekkadan that have allowed them to get to where they are. And as they arrive on Mars, Gallahorn, the Gallahorn rep there, explains to McGillis, he's been totally ousted from the organization. Rustal sees complete control, delegitimized him, made him an enemy of the state. Still, he lets him in. He's just like, come on in, though, because I never know how this is going to go. He's got the devil's luck. Maybe this dude's going to win. So, come on in. Maybe it'll work out. Tekkadan sneaks their broken mobile suits down to Mars, and they realize they don't have the resources to fix most of them at this point. Orga also meets with McGillis and tells him, if we're going to keep working together, then you're going to be taking orders from us. And he says he's fine with that, but urges them to keep fighting their enemies. And Orga wonders who their real enemies are. At this point. And he talks it over with lieutenants. Eugene wonders if they can turn McGillis in for their own safety. And Orga stops short of saying he'd betray him, but wonders if they might have to cut ties. Unfortunately, though, it may be too late for that. They turn on the news and the media is just lumping them all together with the McGillis rebellion and painting them all as villains. And we see that public opinion.
Good old media, bro.
Oh, yeah.
It doesn't change. It doesn't change even in anime, bro. It's
turned
They
everybody
gotta have
against
some
him.
type of source material.
Yeah, they got to keep people entertained, and so they're doing that this week by making Tekkadan the bad guy. So Orga tries to work with Meribit to get them some money, but now nobody wants to associate with him because of this news. Rustal's plan of isolating them is beginning to work. Kudelia arrives after it confirms Noblest Gordon is also like cut off all funding and has told her, you got to cut ties with them. And Orga tells her that he's right. You know, she should cut ties with them and, you know, ask Meribit to gather everybody for a speech. And, you know, at the speech, he tells him, you know, this is the end. You know, anybody who wants to quit is free to go. You know, many say that they want to stay, but some, like Zach, who's had some issues, has said, you know, this is basically a suicide mission and decides to leave. Later, he and Dane talk about how everyone, you know, is wasting their lives. But, you know, Dane reiterates, you know, he's a murderer. Basically, he was a murderer before this. He's a criminal. He has nowhere else to go. They all have criminal records or they're human debris with contracts. You know, Tekkadan is all they have. Later, Kudelia goes to talk with Mika, and there he asks her to help raise his child with Atra if he doesn't survive this. And she's shocked at first, but, you know, happy for them. Mika even offers to give her a baby too, but she decides she'd just be happy to raise the one that that's already on the way. And the three of them share a hug. Do you want some of these babies? I mean, all right.
I got a few.
He's trying to be young naive.
We got some time, you know. Time is short. In another part of the base, Orga calls the Taiwa's boss and asks for one last favor to connect him with Rustal, and he does. And Orga asks him straight up, like, will you let us go if we hand over McGillis and Bile? But Rustal says, you know, things have gone too far. If Galahorn's going to be respected, then we have to villainize Tekkadan and McGillis and utterly destroy you. Like, you have to be the scapegoat. And he's horrified, but Eugene and Nakahiro come in, you know, having heard most of it and are angry that he would even try to call it quits and, you know, take on the punishment just on himself. And they reaffirmed, you know, they're all in this together. And that's how they're going to figure it out.
He said something dope. Akihiro was like, no, not Akihiro. Yeah, Akihiro, I think. One of them was like, you think your one life equal all of ours? Like, fuck wrong with you, bro?
Yeah.
That was hard.
And as they talk it over, Kudelia comes up with an idea that, you know, Mackinac could help make new identities for all of them on Earth if they're able to escape. And that becomes the new plan. And Kudelia tries to call Mackinac, but their communications have been cut. And a scout reports that Galahorn has them completely surrounded. And Zach and the others who were leaving reach the line and realize there's no way out for them, you know. And Rustal has Gordon spreading more misinformation to the media that they've called for Tekkadan's surrender and they're not answering. The Tekkadan leadership is meeting up and trying to decide what's next. Nadi tells them, you know, there are tunnels under this base that could lead you to Kreese and maybe to freedom. You know, if you make it through, you could probably contact Mackinac and fake your deaths and maybe keep Galahorn off your tails. And so Orga gives the order. That's the mission now. Everybody just do the best you can to survive. So Orga gives the news to McGillis. You know, they plan to run and he's disappointed, but you know, Orga tells him above anything, their goal is to live. However, he gets the bad news that the tunnels are caved in. So he just tells everybody to start digging as best they can. And McGillis is like, you know, I'm about to ride out and face these dudes alone. When the fighting starts, there's going to be a small window for you. Like maybe a few of you can sneak through the line while they're all looking at me. That's your best chance. So Ride, Chad, Kudelia, Atra get ready to leave with Orga while McGillis attempts to recruit Mika very briefly. But, you know, Orga arrives and tells him, you know, he's on his own. They have their own destination to reach. And the two Tekkadan members talk about their past. And, you know, Mika says he's worried that he can't come with them and gives Orga his gun for protection, you know, makes him promise to give it back when this is all over.
Get the strap.
There you go. The car for Kreese gets ready to leave, and McGillis charges the Galahorn lines, and the media is right there watching, and Eok is there telling all the men not to attack first. They need to basically make McGillis look like the aggressor, and he has absolutely no problem playing that role and just like goes to town on Eok's suit. He survives, but you really can't say the same for the other dudes that McGillis starts tearing through. As the battle rages,
how is Eok still alive, man? I was so angry.
He just keeps making it, you know.
I'm happy he survives.
I guess so. Yeah.
I was happy he survived.
As the battle rages, Tekkadan, their car barely manages to escape, the digging continues. Zach and the others come in. They join in to help, basically just as the car is arriving at Kreese, and they find out all about that fake news about their refusal to surrender. And, you know, they know that at this point Galahorn's going to try to wipe them out. So they are able to reach Mackinac and he agrees to help them, you know, partly because they've saved his life several times, but also because Takaki is now on his staff and, you know, he'll do anything to help his old friends. On top of that, they have a message from the Old Turbines crew. Aziz has gotten Taiwaz's blessings to smuggle them to Earth if they can just kind of find some way to get up into space. So the old friends are coming through for him. Orga gets ready to, go back and help Tekkadan break through the tunnel, and thanks Kudelia for helping them to get where they are. There would be no Tekkadan if she hadn't chosen them to protect her. And from there, he heads to the car, but before he can get inside, another car pulls up, and gunmen inside open fire, hitting Chad in the shoulder. Orga runs to Ride and hugs him to protect him and is hit several times, but, he takes out a couple shooters before they peel out. But the damage is done.
Before you move forward, Brennan, what are your thoughts on that moment?
Watching that scene, even for the second time, I cried like a motherfucker, bro. Like, I was texting Rob, like, this is the most boss ass. First of all, he should have hit the ground. He should have tackled him to the ground. That's the first thought. Yeah, that's the first thought.
Yeah,
but like this whole scene right here, I didn't expect it to hit me like it did again. And I was just sitting there like, because Orga, man. Orga is, yeah. I like to believe I see some of myself in some of his traits.
Of course you would. Of course.
Yeah.
Brennan would love to go out as a hero. If death came, he was just like, all right, if I gotta die, I gotta go out saving somebody.
Who wouldn't want
Somebody
that?
would talk
If
about
you had to go out, who wouldn't
Yeah.
want that? I'm just saying, you gotta die. Like, would you rather die as a hero or not as a hero? It's like, everybody's gonna say
True.
hero.
True.
Maybe.
I can't see none of us.
Keenan is just like, damn, I should have ordered that. Kenny's like, I should have ordered that. He's like, I don't know, should have.
It's that birthday energy. Here
No,
we go.
I'm not saying I need to be a hero. I can just, die peacefully.
I was going to say, yeah, in your bed.
They know my legacy.
Surrounded by...
That could be
I'm
a
not
hero
on
moment.
that.
Could be. But
Fucking
anyway.
you Miriam now?
But Orga bleeds out basically as he's marching forward, thinking to himself, they've always been trying to work towards this destination, but really the destination was what they had all along. They were all just going forward together, and if they can just keep fighting forward, he'll be waiting for them in the end. And at that point, Orga, leader of Tekkadan, dies. Word is spreading about Orga, his murder, and Noblesse Gordon, his men reporting back to him for they carried out the hit, and he hopes it'll get him favor with Rustal. And next we see, the Tekkadan base getting the news as well, and Mika just takes the news very quietly. Of course, there are some Tekkadan that want to get revenge, but Eugene and Mika, now effectively the heads of the organization, announce, Orga's orders still stand. They have to do all they can to keep on living. And in space, Rusal gets word of Orga's assassination from Gordon, says, yeah, no problem. You can keep dealing your weapons. And when he hangs up, Julia is kind of talking about, it's crazy these kids, have to deal with all these ruthless men and people that are taking advantage of them. But Rustal points out, I'm one of them too. I'm doing the same thing right now, using them as my pawns to propel myself to power. She just takes that to the face. At Tekkadan, most of the manpower is being used to finish digging the tunnel, but several of the pilots, including Mika, Akihiro, Hush, Dante, Eugene, using Orga's old mobile suit, and a few other of the guys are planning on making a last stand to cover the retreat when Galahorn attacks. And they don't have to wait long, knowing it's the end. They just try to resolve to die as slowly as possible to give their friends as much time as they can to escape. In space, McGillis thanks his crew for all their help, including old Hitler Stash, who apparently smuggled him off the planet. He tells him, hey, lead the ship. Basically he plans to face off against Rustal alone. And then he drives his ship as a battering ram right into Rustal's fleet, jumps from the explosion in the Bile Gundam suit, and cuts through Rustal's soldiers. But Galeo soon rides out to meet him, and they clash. Back on Mars, Hush is caught off guard. His mobile suit is basically set for space battles, not fights on the ground, and he's able to kill one of his enemies, but they deal him a crushing blow as well, basically just totally collapsing his cockpit. Mika checks in on him, but Hush is just like, I'm fine, I'll hold the position here, and Mika tells him, I'm counting on you, as Hush smiles basically and bleeds out in his cockpit. Meanwhile, McGillis and Galeo push each other to the limit in this brutal fight, but in the end, Galeo's suit, his AI is just too much for McGillis, and Bile is destroyed when Galeo stabs him with the drill, literally with his hand this time. But McGillis manages to get inside the main ship, and while he holds his own stab wound, he tries to make his way to the bridge with his pistol in hand, looking for Rustal, but it's Galeo that finds him first. They both fire their shots, but Galeo's got his Vader mask on, so, it gets blocked. Galeo wants to see him suffer, and as he's bleeding out, McGillis explains, he couldn't be friends with him or Carta as they grew up, because he knew if he was friends with them, them, he wouldn't be able to carry out his master plan. He wouldn't have had the heart to do it. And in the end, he says Galeo was the closest thing he ever had to a friend. And those words are apparently enough for...
He said,
yeah, like he...
Like, what the fuck
I
was
will never
that?
forgive you for smashing my
smash her, I don't
11-year-old
think.
sister.
Right, fam. He put her in her lap.
You
that's
don't
more
think.
Than, that's more than
You
enough.
don't think.
Putting her in her lap is more than enough. That's it.
He was
If
cool
didn't
with
do
it before
anything outside of
the...
that,
He was cool with it
he
before his
picked her
murder,
up.
though.
put her in
I mean,
her
I
lap.
think it's
He
it's
knew
enough to
about
say
it.
that he murdered him. I mean, I feel like that's
It is enough, but Galeo somehow finds it in his heart and basically finds forgiveness for McGillis as he
No vacancy,
dies in his
bitch.
arm.
shit.
Ain't no vacancy in my heart for no type of forgiveness.
Elsewhere, Julieta heads down to Mars to finish the fight. As Rustal says, it's time to basically draw the curtains. Luckily for Tekkadan, their work is able, they're able to break through the cave in and get through to Kreese. And when the defenders get word of that, Mika's like, Eugene, you got to get out of here. With Orga gone, you're in charge now. Akihiro tells Dante to leave as well when his mobile suit loses both of his arms. With that, Mika and Akihiro are the last two Tekkadan pilots standing, and Julieta and Iok join in the fight to try and end it once and for all. And
Real quick, one question, or any of you guys can answer this. What is Mika's position? Like, I know Eugene is deputy boss, but like in the pecking order, what is Mika?
Force, so it's just like he had supreme control over any of the troops in the field. That kind of shit.
yeah, they kind of went over it earlier in this season. He's basically
He never really used it, though. He just did what he wanted to do.
He's like a 5-star general, like obviously you've got Orga as like the president, probably on top of everybody. But I think it's when it comes to like making, commands in the field, I think that's Mika's spot. Because at some point somebody earlier is just like, we don't take orders from him. And they're like, do you know who that dude is? Everybody takes orders from him, But as the first Tekkadan members arrive to safely, Rustal prepares a Dainsleif barrage from space that unloads on Mika and Akihiro, and the explosions are big enough to be felt back in Kreese. In his cockpit, Mika wonders if he died and has a vision of Orga on their first day together as companions. And with that, he actually is able to rise from the wreckage along with Akihiro. But the damage is done, but they still want to fight to the death. So Iok and Julieta try to finish them off. But when Akihiro realizes he's fighting Iok, he gives himself one last push and uses those pincers to crush that dude in his suit. And
Crush that motherfucker. I loved it. I'm glad he survived for this moment.
Yeah. And Akihiro, he dies happy, at least that he was able to avenge his friends. And Julieta, meanwhile, trades blows with Mika while he just continues absolutely killing Galahorn mobile suit pilots. And Mika charges into Julieta, but, he's just overwhelmed. And, by the time he gets there, he just collapses in exhaustion and basically dies as he's coming in, reuniting with Orga. And Julieta then beheads Barbados and holds it high, basically to show the defeat of the devil of Tekkadan.
I hated that moment, bro. I hated that moment.
I beat the devil.
You got blasted by the space.
At not even 5%.
The space gun shooting them and 100 other mobile suits before you, and you're just like, and I finished him off. And he collapsed before he got to you. You ain't
ridiculous.
Shit.
Yeah.
That ain't a win.
From there, we fast forward several years and hear the consequences of the McGillis Farid incident. The Seven Stars of Galahorn are disbanded, and Rustal has become the first single leader of this new democratic organization. However, the other powers on Earth were too weakened, basically, so that by this whole conflict. They end up giving up their Martian colonies, and Kudelia becomes the first leader of an independent Mars, partly because she had the support of Taiwaz to do it. Tekkadan has been largely forgotten, but even though they lost, many of the ideals they were working towards with McGillis were actually realized as Kudelia signs a treaty with Rustal that outlaws the use of human debris. And Kudelia wears the symbol of Tekkadan as earrings as she signs the treaty, with Eugene working as her personal bodyguard while this happens. Later, Julieta and Galeo, now wheelchair bound from his injuries, discuss why Rustal allowed Kudelia into power. But she thinks it's all because, his new vision for Galahorn. And they think back on Tekkadan, and she admits that they weren't the devils that, everybody pretended they were. They were just kids that needed to fight to live. And, Galeo says she understood her enemy, much better than he understood his. And he wished he had come to understand him sooner. But it seems, he's let bygones be bygones and has returned to his usual good nature. Back with Kudelia, we see some other former Tekkadan members. Takaki continues to work with the PM of Arbrow after Makanai passed away. Chad works in her office staff with Eugene. The orphanage is still standing and running. Dante and Derma care for the children there. And Yamagi continues to work as a mobile unit mechanic. And Maribit and Nadi are expecting their second child. Ride, however, consumed by revenge, basically, when he tracks down Nobliss Gordon alone on a toilet, executes him through the stall to avenge Orga. And after finishing up her day at Admos, Kudelia returns to the Biscuit Memorial Farm, where Atra continues to live and work. And the two of them raise her son with Mika, Akatsuki, together. And we see on the cliffside above the farm, the memorial has had all the names of the Tekkadan dead carved into the stone, including Orga, Mika, Akihiro, all of them. And the show ends with Akatsuki checking out the picture on the dresser of Tekkadan back when they were all together in the early days. And that is the end of Iron-Blooded Orphans.
Thank you for that send off, Rob. So shout out to Rob for the recap as always, man.
That was a quick one too.
For how much happened
that was quick.
in those 5 episodes, that was impressive.
Yeah, that was.
Do y'all ever be watching something and be like, fuck it, Rob explain it? Like, you be confused and be like, fucking Rob explain it.
I'll be writing something down, but like, he'll remind me when he does the recap.
That's funny, man.
Rob's pretty straightforward with this stuff. I did want to say something, but I think I forgot. Damn, yeah, I did forget. Maybe I'll get reminded during the question. So, question portion of the show. We are here. First question. Has anyone ever gone out as a boss like Orga did?
Bro, every time I think about, I know I'm the first one. This is my question, right? So
he's just going to jump in. Let me just get right to it, he says.
Yeah, so.
It was his question, yeah.
This is the moment that I think about every time I think about this show. And the reason I think about this moment when Orga passes away and he goes out is because it reminds me of a lot of things. It reminds me of Medgar Everest. If you've seen that movie before, the civil rights leader, and how he was shot down in the back in his front yard and crawled and continued to believe until his last breath. It reminded me of like a little bit of, again, Malcolm X. Like Orga was a dark-skinned brother. Like he was, you know what I'm saying? Like he was a dark-skinned person that fought against the odds, against the greater machine, and did everything he could to bring power to those who didn't have it. And he did it from a leadership standpoint. He did it with his heart. He did it with his head. And he did it to the best of his abilities in every stretch, in every way that he could. So no, I think the way that this brother went out, I had not seen anyone go out like this before. It definitely hits me in my heartstrings every time because I do see those civil rights leaders. I even see parts of myself in Orga, optimistically, maybe not, but that's just what I personally see. And so that part hit me really, really hard. And I'd say that the way he went out, getting shot in the back, and then turning around and taking one with him while protecting one of his team like he said he would, don't get no bigger than that. Like this brother went in and his final words were epic.
True.
I'll go next. My question was, because here's the thing, Brennan hit me with this question and I already had another question that was similar. And this is the guy that bossed it way better than me. Like I understand Orga's moment was dope, but Akihiro going out, getting jacked up, and still having the power to crush this bitch-ass motherfucker to death. I had to use those words because that's what the hell he is. And still crush him. Bro, crushing somebody to death is probably one of the worst deaths you can have. Shooting somebody, stabbing somebody, that shit is, I'm not saying it's easy, but it's easier than crushing somebody slowly and they're seeing themselves being crushed and feeling it. I'm not knocking Brendan's answer at all because I understand it. I 100% get it. Shit, I almost didn't say shit because he added the civil rights shit to it. I was like, oh, you motherfucker.
That's how I see it, man.
So I was like, oh, this is easy. I said I had an easy counter to this. But that was literally my question. Did anybody go like a boss like Akihiro did? And then when he said this, I said, I'll just save mine for this. And I don't think you're wrong with either one. And I try to keep my answer within the animes that we watch, not animes outside of this because, we can probably find some other ones. But I think Akihiro went out like just a straight up G, man. Rob?
Yeah, I think both of those are up there. To add to the list, I'm just he comes up a lot because he also went out with a bang. Askeladd in Vinland Saga. Oh my God, that dude! That dude went out like a boss. He went out on his own terms. He went out swinging.
Yes,
Askeladd got to be up there in consideration. But I mean, any of those guys, absolutely. Because I was thinking the same thing, Keenan. Like Akihiro, to get hit with those things and just pull them out and then keep going. Oh my God! But him, bro, Orga, Askeladd, all went out like bosses. Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
Sorry, Ice, who you got? Who you got?
I had Askeladd. I mean, there's two other people, but there's spoiler alerts because both Keenan and Brennan, from my understanding, are watching Naruto, so I can't say that person. And then the other person is in Demon.
You know me, I don't go for it, bro.
The other person is in Demon Slayer, so I can't say them.
I hear you.
Yeah. You already, So I'm good. That's it. Fucking Goblin Slayer. Goblin Slayer.
Potions. All right. Next question. Would you be willing to have a kid knowing there's a high chance you won't live to see them, knowing you have a child on the way? Are you risking your life? This is a two-part question from myself and Ice. And then the second part of this question is, knowing you have a child on the way, are you risking your life for Tekkadan, or are you trying to escape to be with your family? I'll let you go first. Ice, go for it.
So the first half of the question, would I bring a child in this world knowing there's a high chance I would die? No, because one, I just don't want to, to get on my Brennan shit. I don't want to add to the demographic of, black kids being raised without their fathers, or the stereotype, because there's statistics to prove otherwise, but still, I don't want to add to that. And I don't want my kid, girl or boy, growing up without their dad. And then I don't want to put their mother in that situation, and my family in that situation. So if I had a choice whether or not to, knowing I'm doing high risk stuff, I'm not going to do that. Then the second part of the question, if the child was already there, and then would I rather fight or try to escape? I made an obligation to the people that I'm with, especially if I'm in a leadership position. I'm going to have to go out with my team. And I hope that my family and my children understand that, just because, I made an obligation to them. And that's something that I made prior to whether I have a kid or not. That's something that I got to ride out. And if I have the chance to escape, I'll take it. But if it's either or, and if it's just that black and white, I can't back out like that.
This is a tough question for me, because I know I don't have the kids, so I don't know why it's that tough. But this is why it's tough. It's tough because you think about one thing, you go, you think selfishly and be like, yo, my legacy. I want my legacy to live on. Even though I'm about to die, I want to have something that's going to have my last name to move on in life. But then I think of what you said too about saying, and I just watched the Patrice O'Neal documentary. He's one of my favorite comedians of all time. Oh, yeah. And he was talking about how he didn't want to have, I think his girl at the time got pregnant, and he didn't, they ended up going, with the abortion or whatever. And he didn't want to bring a child in here because he knew he was dying soon. I guess he knew his health was deteriorating. He's like, I don't want to bring a child in here knowing I'm not going to be here to even help you take care of it. That's bullshit. Mm-hmm. But he ended up keeping the pregnancy test, the positive pregnancy test, in like a drawer, because and he watch the documentary, is great. Second part of that, I don't know, man. I think at the end of the day, I didn't look at it from already having a child. Look at it if I have a girl, my girl's pregnant or whatever the case may be, and I think I would do anything to get back to that family. I think I would do anything to get back to that child. I don't. It's tough for me to sit there. I guess I can't knock it, but it's tough for me to sit there and be like, I'm putting this over my family. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? My friends over my family, even though I guess they're technically family also. But it's like, this is different. This is half of me. This is somebody that for sure needs me. I think for me personally, I don't know. I at least for me, if let's say if Brennan was like, yo, I got a daughter on the way, bro, and I don't have a child, I'm like, my nigga, bounce. Mm-hmm. If he doesn't get out of here, I'm knocking him out, drag him away, 100%. And then getting him out of there, and I'm taking a hit for him. Because that's not, to me, I'm not letting you not be with your family. That's just me.
True.
Rob?
Yeah, I feel like the answers, for me personally, reflect both of what you guys said for the reasons you said. But for Mika, I totally understand why he did end up making those choices to a degree. Like, because the idea of, you know, he is going to die, and he knows that's basically an eventuality because of the life he lives, right? But you know, he has this opportunity to leave something of himself behind for those people that he knows, you know, will carry on after him, because he knows his lifespan is short. He knows he's probably not here for a long time, but he can, you know, give that life another chance, especially since he's working towards an ideal and a goal of a better place. So hopefully, you know, he can create a better world for that kid, which is why I think if I'm in Mika's position, I would go out to fight, because especially knowing I have that child on the way, and knowing that this battle can decide the type of future that my child has going forward, I feel like I would be in a position where I would have to take that. You know, if and that's specific to this situation. If it's just like put in our world, in our context, and in a different place where it's just like, well, you know, the outcome of this doesn't necessarily change the world, then no, if it's small potatoes, of course not. But like, you know, the fact that this clearly changed the way that not only life works on Mars, but also on Earth. It's like he kind of had to go, you know?
Yeah, I'm grabbing my girl or telling her, but before I go, have my son give me this.
I would do pretty much what Rob said. Like, I wouldn't have any problems being Mika in this situation, because it's like I selfishly would want to pass on my genes anyway. Just like, yep, like I'm passing on my genes, and I trust that my family that's going to survive this, as well as the women who I did it with, are going to be more than capable of raising and taking care of my seed. Which I think in this instance they would be more than capable of that. And then on the second half, yeah,
he's got
and on the
two
second side of it, like I think that, yeah, I mean, pretty much Rob's answer. Like, just everything's situational. Like, wouldn't want to go out with him, but if it's like I said, if it's going to change the world for better and make everything better for all of us, then that's what it's going to be. Like, got to take the L. And have my kid take the L, but it's part of building up the better world. It's like I would do my best to be about the greater good, not be as selfish as I could. So, you know, that's it.
Okay. Next question. If you could swap one character that died,
Hold a straight face for this,
one
Rob.
that didn't,
Hold a straight face for this,
which
Rob.
two would it be? Which two would it be, Rob?
Honestly, it was hard to narrow it down, because I think I could pick multiple characters for both. But for me personally, wow, there were two that were real neck and neck for me. But if I had to pick somebody that lived that I wished had died, it would be Rustal. Like, that dude is an absolute fucking monster. Like, despite what the world he helped create in the fact that he basically committed war crimes, like, you know, use these nefarious purposes to end up using these banned weapons on children. Like, I almost could have put the fuck them kids background back up for that dude on this episode. Yeah. That dude is an absolute fucking monster that gave a fuck about nobody or anything. So, except Gallahorn and Gallahorn's survival. So I think I really wished he had gone. I did not like him at all. And just swap it with somebody else. Honestly, I would go, this is maybe a surprise pick, I would go with somebody like Aston, actually, because I felt like that dude, when we were seeing the life that he and Takaki were kind of starting to form on Earth, I felt like this dude has a chance. I felt like he had a chance, especially with Takaki and his sister. He could have made it out, and he could have maybe turned his life around. He clearly saw that there was another way, there was a better way for him, in a way that I don't think Mika was ever coming back. Like, Mika was who he was at that point, but I feel like Aston could have come back around given the opportunity afterwards, and I'd hope that that's what they were going to do with his character. So that would be my pick.
Nice.
My pick would be Julita, and
That was my number two.
Akihiro. That would be my swap, because I feel like Mika without Orga, like a dead Orga and a Mika alive, that just like he wouldn't have no purpose. And I feel like Akihiro would have been able to function better without Orga, and he was showing some type of development as far as emotional stability, and his emotional spectrum was growing. So I feel like he could have even came up to be like him and Eugene be the two people that run Tekkadan.
Rustal for
Brennan.
Orga. Easy. Y'all know I was going to say that. Like, Orga gives these guys a home. Yeah. He gave them their lives. He's going to grow and evolve like he did this entire show, and continue to be able to be a great provider and a great leader for all of them for as long as he's around. And I think his decision-making at times was questionable, but always you could feel where he's coming from.
in the sense of he always did what he thought was best for everybody. And so having someone that's this strong, powerful, respected, and put together as Orga is around, as even Mika said, where do we belong? Wherever Orga is. So giving everybody that space to be able to have a place to belong, even if Mika's not there in a different type of life, I think Orga would thrive no matter where you put him. You know, he'd be.
Yeah. And the thing about Orga too is like Mika might be a robot, but it take a certain type of person for them to lead to follow him blindly like that.
Orga was a fighter, like who came up from CGS or whatever the fuck it was called, and like became an office guy. You know what I'm saying? He learned all the office shit, understood the accounts and budgeting and all that. Like with the brother's amplitude was off the charts, and his ability to lead was in the same space. So it's just like his ability, what he was going to accomplish outside of the military space, I think was off. It was just Kobe Bryant like in the sense of like what Kobe Bryant was going to achieve in a business side if he had survived.
He saw that death and got shook. He was like, I can't do this, Mika. This is your shit now. I'm just gonna sit back and just. I would go Jalita and Orga. I think like what I said earlier. Mika, to me, Mika is not. You know, he's nothing without Orga, but Orga will still be something without Mika. And I think, you know, if he's alive, like I said, I question some of his stuff myself, but I still think at the end of the day, he was one of the most important, if not the most important character in this show. And I don't fucking like Jalita. I don't like her. I don't. Her and Dreadhead. I was so satisfied.
Oh yeah,
man. He should have died. He was fucking Kenny from South Park. Goddamn, it's like, did you fucking die?
I wanted. If him and Julieta would have died, this would have been probably one of the best animes I've seen in a while. Would have been perfect.
Just off the strength of that.
Let's off that because I just needed them to go. Next question. Julieta was in awe of Mika's powers. You know, she was just like getting smoked. And she was like, this motherfucker's incredible. I ain't got it, baby. Throughout their fight, when is the last time you've been in awe of somebody's talents? So this is just talents in general.
Yeah, it can be anybody's talents. So for me, I feel I had one right now, but I feel like a dick saying it because it's my son. But like, just watching him grow and just watching him how talented he is at such a young age and how fast he is and just working with him and how quickly he's putting together. Like, I was half the athlete he was right now. Wow. And I worked hard to get to where I'm at and to see him grow and to see him like, I don't know. I'd be here fucking 15, 20 minutes going in about that. But just to see how like fast he is, how quickly he's able to adapt to like play calls and routes running and quick releases and like these are football terms for people that don't know. Like, it's a lot that goes into football. It's way more than being fast and being able to catch. Like the mental part of it that he's able to put together so quickly at fucking 11 years old. Like, it took me in high school. It took me a long time to learn my playbook, and he got his shit down like that. So like him to be able to do that at 11, like I'm fucking just blown away by that kid.
Yeah, it sounds like a great father, not a dick.
No, not at all.
It's like a great dad. He's proud of my boy.
Yeah. Actually, I'm gonna go with the flip side of that. I'm gonna go with my dad. Growing up, my dad's a musician. He plays guitar, and it was just something that he always did. You know, he went out, he played music venues and stuff like that. He put out an album, and it was always something that it was just always going on. So I never really thought anything about it. But recently, with the pandemic and being home a lot, he started doing shows on Facebook and like doing like Facebook live shows and just playing his original songs, like doing covers. And like now that I'm older and I'm sitting back and like watching my dad, I'm like, damn, like he's really good at this. Like I never really, I never like sat back and appreciated it, because it was just kind of a for granted thing. I kind of took it for granted growing up that like, oh yeah, my dad just does that. But like now that I'm like, I can appreciate music better and like I see how he plays, I'm just like, damn, he just does that. And like I clearly he's got talent, and the fact that he a lot of the stuff he plays is his own material, and I do honestly like it, is like pretty crazy to me. And I'm really proud of him.
Where's his album at?
It was locally released in Syracuse. I can get you a copy. It's like
I need an autographed copy.
I will get you one. He would be fucking thrilled to do it.
Hell yeah.
See, Ice, that was That's a dick right there. Not fucking with your dad's music, and now what the fuck actually does?
I'll take a signed copy as well.
That's what kids do. That's what kids
Absolutely
do.
would take a signed copy, bro. That's for sure. That's super dope.
That's what kids do.
Rob a dick. Never thought the day would come.
Yeah, he's doing this little music thing in the garage again. He gives a shit.
I was
He's
a
over there
kid.
killing it.
He's out there killing it. And I'm just like,
Fucking 20 years later, you like, you kind of dope. That's good. It took you 20 years? What the fuck?
longer, man.
I'm gonna do two super quick ones. The first one is just my twin brother growing up against that crazy amount of talent that he has is just unreal. And the second one is my business partner currently, Tony Valentino. I am currently
Motherfucker's
in a
talented,
very
bro.
huge space of appreciation for how talented he is because I've had to do the things he has to do lately. I've had to direct the post production, and the amount of focus and the amount of creativity that it takes to do each and every one of those things that he does every day, all day. I'm just like, this guy is the shit. And I partnered up with the right human being, and he is a monster. He gets shit done. So I've been in a huge space of appreciation of that, as well as like the damn near genius level of creativity that he can express like at times. So for me, I'm like, Tony Valentino is the one right now that I'm like, yo, I'm in awe of this dude. Like he's the truth.
Yeah.
That get shit done is like a great way to explain him. Even if he don't know the shit,
He'll
he'll
get
be
it
like,
done.
hey,
He'll get it
I'm
done.
gonna figure this shit out.
He'll get it done.
and I'm gonna
He'll
get it
figure
done.
out a way.
Like,
Yeah.
and he does that shit.
I have to say, all of you guys took everybody I was going to say. I'm going to say every single one of those.
You was gonna say my son? You was gonna say my son?
You were gonna say Rob's dad, like Rob's dad.
You've been in all my son?
Yeah, of course I'm going to say Rob. I'm actually a fan of Rob's dad's music. So I was a fucking kid, unlike Rob.
He's in the Facebook Live shows every week, just like, I love this.
This will be his second autograph copy.
Oh my God.
I mean, I guess I would keep it in the same vein as all you guys and family, and I would say my brother also. Yeah, man, my brother, he's an electrical engineer, but this dude's been, since we were kids, he's been fixing computers from scratch and building computers from scratch with no real instructions. I don't know how he just had it and put it together. He was when he was in first or second grade, he was fixing the computers in the classroom. The teacher was just like, "What are you even doing right now?" He just said, "Just give me a second." He wasn't doing all that, but like he just had a knack for it, and he's built his own apps. Alley Oop, and he's built different things, and he's a professor at University of Kentucky right now.
Oh shit!
And he's got a lot of stuff going on over there where he's done some stuff for Apple, like their open source type thing. And, they actually called him and was like, who the fuck are you? Like, how are you even figuring this stuff out? And he's just like, oh, it's simple. It's just da-da-da-da. They're like, we want to have a talk with you, like, and can we have like a TED talk, quote unquote, with your school, because what you're doing is fucking incredible. Mm-hmm. And, we always joke around about each other all the time, but I got to give him a lot of love for that because he's killing it. I know he's got something on it. I can't wait to have the money to invest in what he's built. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because I know it's going to make me a millionaire. All right. Next question. Would you have made the call Orga made to Restall? Like, so he kind of bowed. He kind of bowed down a little bit. It might have been a questionable questionable thing. But would you have made that call?
It's a hard question for me. That's why I asked it, because it took a lot of like humbleness to bow down and call the guy that is on his way to, come fuck you up and just say, look, full surrender, full stop, whatever you need. I'll give up my partner. I'll give up whoever. Just save my people. The honest answer is I don't fucking know, man. I have never been in a situation like that, because it's like, on one hand, you're giving up all of your pride as well as all your pride and dignity to save the people, your family. And on the other hand, even if you do save your family, you taint them forever because they gave up the people that they partnered with, and they'll never be trusted again. The organization's name will never be trusted again. They're going to be shamed for the rest of their lives if they do survive this. And so it's just like, fuck, and all the favors he even had to, he had to pull to even get there in the first place. A big deal. So if I had to pick, I'd say I probably will make the call. Because, living is better than not. Regardless of sometimes regardless of what the shame that might come with it, because you can always work to redeem and have redemption for yourself.
Yeah, ego is overrated, bro. That shit is highly overrated. It's, a little bit of it having it here and there, but to get a chance to save you and your people, or like, you even say you might sacrifice yourself to save all your friends. It's like, bro, I get it. I understand the call. If I'm him, I think I make the call too. It's like you look at it like we don't have a fucking chance. So let me try to save, instead of letting all my friends just go to death. Let me just try to see what I can do to just at least salvage the most that I can. Because at the end of the day, that was one of my goals, is to make sure my people are good. I think I make the call knowing that we're, I would just have that in mind. Like, all right, there's a chance that he's going to say no. So I got to have that in mind and probably have another backup plan. But I'm going to definitely make the call, at least to see what the deal is. Rob?
Honestly, I might have made that call before the first battle above Earth, like, because it became very clear that McGillis had no plan. Like, he thought he was going to get in that suit and everybody was just going to bow down. And when they didn't, and Orga's just like, what the fuck, dude? And he's just like, no, don't worry. It's going to be fine. We're not going to have to attack him because all these other guys are going to come over. And all of them are just like, no, we're out. Like, he cost them everything. And McGillis clearly did not give a single fuck about one of them. Nary a one of them. And, that's a tough call for him to make. But I mean, clearly they're spinning all kind of stories in the media. Maybe you can make it part of the deal. Like, I'll give him up. Just like, maybe don't make me the bad guy. Like, maybe we were your inside units all along. Something like that. Like, help us out. Cause I mean, like you guys are saying, ego's overrated, especially when it comes down to like, it's one thing to talk tough and be like, oh, we're going to fight down to the last man. But when you realize, like, no, they are coming for you and they are killing every last one of you. It's like, you'll do whatever it takes to get out of that alive, I think.
Ice.
Tonight, we dine in hell. Fuck out of here with all that. We going out, dog. Fuck that. I ain't calling that motherfucker.
That's funny, man.
Kiss my ass. I'm calling them to tell them to kiss my ass. That's what I'm doing. Fuck that. That's how Tekkadan was made. That's what we here for.
Yeah, but they never.
Like, that's what we got our name
They
off.
never fought shit like this, man. This was a zero sum.
But this show, this show is not called Running Hot. It's called Iron-Blooded Motherfucking Orphans. That's what we are. That's what we going out
at the end of
as.
the day, none of these kids wanted to die. You could see how they died, and they could tell they didn't want to die.
Hey.
So I think Orga, he saw that. He knows these are children, bro. These ain't like grown men that have lived life, that know what it's like to be for like living. Yeah. These people they don't know. I mean, I'll get to that in my recap. But anyways, next question.
Yeah, we going out.
Should McGillis and Bale be introduced into the Park Mugen Pump Fake Hall of Fame in this bitch? This McGillis, man. This motherfucker.
Listen, Park Mugen still has his name on the building, all right? But like...
Oh, yeah.
But this dude went and pulled out a 300-year-old piece of armor and it's just like... That's been mothballed in a fucking water tank for 300 years, and it's just like, this is it. And he didn't do anything. He killed some like regular old dudes, but he's in a Gundam. He should have been. When it came down for him to do anything big in that suit, like, oh my God, he set up, he's like, just you guys wait. I had the best plan that when you hear it, it's going to be so great. And he had nothing. It turned out this whole time, that dude's plan was fucking awful. He had nothing to do. He tried to go out like Akihiro and Mika, but he never could. He never could.
Rob's old audio of how interested he was in McGillis earlier on in the season. Do you guys remember? He was like, yeah, I'm really interested in this guy. He seems really interesting. Like, he seems like he has more going on.
Shit. And like I said an episode or two ago, I should have known he wasn't about shit when Eok turned up and was just like, I know what your plan is. You're going to kill one of these mobile suits and that's going to put you in charge. And he was like, damn, that is a good plan. Maybe I should have done that. And then that became his plan. Clearly he didn't know what he was doing. So, yeah, McGillis, giant pump fake.
Yeah, I don't really have much to add. Absolutely. He's in there, put his name,
he's keeping the lights on.
First ballot.
Absolutely. He's like, hey, Park Mugen. Hey, I'm here to join you, brother.
say put him there next to the Goblin Slayer when he sees a hobgoblin. Like, he's like, I slay goblins. So like, hobgoblin's like, go on, say it to my face. Potions. So I say, as long as we can add the Goblin Slayer that only can slay specific types of goblins into the pump fake. It's his fucking name, and he still gets his ass whooped by them. So I put him in the pump fake Hall of Fame. But yes, I think that they belong in there as well.
Nice.
Oh, of course. I think too, because I was kind of dozing off when I was watching the episodes, but then I'm like, I went back just to make sure. I'm like, am I tripping? Did I miss something? And I rewatched all the episodes just to make sure. I'm like, McGillis had to have a moment. This Gundam had to, and no, not at all. Not at one point.
This shit is real life, like, bro. Hey, this shit is real life.
Like, usually it's some like Goonies level shit where it's like, I'm telling y'all it's this treasure, I'm telling y'all this old thing, and we get to it, and it's actually that. Like, it's all this fucking treasure. No.
Nothing.
No. It's like you getting there and all the gold is fucking chocolate. Like, that's what the shit was. Just a bunch of chocolate gold, and it's just like, hey guys, we went through all this shit for this. Eat up. I don't want no fucking chocolate. I want real gold. And he was nah, man.
Yeah. You bite the corn and you're like, wait a second.
What the chocolate? What the fuck?
All right. So last question. We kind of ran through this pretty quickly today. What will be your prediction if there was an episode, if there was a season 3, after seeing all that went down? Me personally, we already knew he was going to have a kid. I actually wish he would have put, he would have had to do one with her. Was it
Cordelia?
Yeah. I wish he would have he would have had 2, son and a daughter. And they was out there, all right, yo, this is who our pops was, this type of dude he was. I mean, and I think it would be super dope if one of them was like Orga in a sense of how they think, and then the other one was kind of like Mika in a way how he thinks. Brother and sister duo go out there and they're like, yo, we're going to get revenge and we're going to go out with, I don't know how it's going to exactly go out, but they will be out for revenge for sure.
But Rustal will be old as shit, right?
Huh? Who?
Rustal will be old as shit, right?
No, because they'll be. They start attacking us kids. They can be 13.
Yeah, they can be Juliet.
They be super old. You know what I'm saying? This show is built off revenge. That's all I've seen in this whole show. So why not keep it going with revenge? That's how I look at it. Rob? You wanted okay.
If I were, because for me, this show seemed to be a lot about like, realness, grittiness, and like, consequences.
Yeah, true.
If I were making a season 3, what I would do is just like, because they mentioned that Gallahorn was still looking for mobile suit armors or mobile armors on Mars. I would make it like they found one and it came up, and now this is a situation where they've outlawed human debris, they've outlawed all this stuff, and now it's all gone, and the big threat that it was there to take out is back, and now they have to see what sort of like things they're willing to compromise, because now they have this new world where they don't have child soldiers. They don't have these people that have been living and, they've been living a relatively like peaceful life. But now this war hungry thing is back, and they have to realize, what do we compromise to get back to that? And, do we go back to the old ways, or does Julieta get her moment where she finally like goes up as an all human, fighter and actually does anything? Because she didn't get one win against anybody worth their salt. So she still has plenty to prove.
Rob, fuck Julieta.
No, she was my number 2 pick for who I wish had died second, because she basically went out and destroyed Mika, and she like bragging about beating Wizards Jordan. Like, there's she's I'm not a fan of Julieta at all in the slightest. But that
AI with the crossover.
But that would be me. That's what I would do. They built this peaceful world, but war comes back for them, and they have to figure out what they have to compromise to live.
I love Rob's idea. I want to speak for Rob, because Rob always drops the genius gems when you ask, like, what would you do as a writer moving forward with this? Like, God damn it, Rob. But one thing I would have done is like actually make, I think that I like the mobile suit thing. And I think that the setup for that would be that, the peace on Mars doesn't last.
Cordelia is having real problems dealing with like real life politics, and the old guy dies. And so the world moves forward in a way that doesn't necessarily benefit them, but she does do a good job helping raise Mika's son. And Mika's son ends up being very well educated, being very well trained in a lot of different ways, like because the other soldiers teach him how to do all that kind of stuff. When he's very young is when the mobile suit comes out. And then he kind of has to be an Orga / Mika character where he has to kind of resurrect the Tekkadan style of doing things that those older guys that were the kids before teach him how to do. And he and his homies have to go and take down the mobile suit armor. And he has to go through the controversial surgery. It's the first one to do it since they outlawed it so that he can actually fight and take this thing out. I would say that would be the way that I would go with the show, and be able to bring in all the the nostalgia and just do it better than say, I don't know, Coming to America 2.
That's fucked
I haven't
up.
seen it. I just read the things about it from before, but I
haven't watched it yet. So thanks.
I've heard mixed. I've heard
everybody
mixed
that I've heard
things,
from that said that
about
it wasn't bad were people who just want to protect Black culture, and I appreciate them. Go on.
All right,
Cool. All right. Honestly, this is two different stories. I think I would like to see a Turbine story, like what they did after that, like when them kids grew up, or like, are they gonna go get revenge for Nays, and like, what are they gonna do? Or I would also like to see like a Civil War type of thing amongst Tekkadan, like old guard, new guard. Like part of Tekkadan wants to just move forward and live a regular farmer's type of life. The other one wants to get revenge. Is like, I didn't forget what Gallahorn did, and they want to go after it. And then there's like a Civil War going on between them, and then whatever decision they decide to make, and go about it that way.
Right. Yeah. Well, that's the end of the question portion or the show question portion. My bad. Take two. So let's get into our likes.
Take two.
I said poor. I
let him buffer, bro. He's fine.
To the question. Yeah, we all had buffering moments. So yeah, let's get into our likes and dislikes and our score for these 5, and then our overall score of the show. And would you recommend it? Ice.
Dislikes, obviously, pedophilia. Don't like that shit. I think that goes without saying, so I'll just kind of leave it out. But I just don't like how dialogue heavy it was. I just wasn't a fan of that. I don't like, after you get used to that formula that we gonna bust you in the mouth with action, a couple deaths, then we gonna get into some dialogue, and then we gonna bust you upside your mouth again. Like, once that settles in, it's a lot more enjoyable, and I think that's why I enjoyed the back half of these episodes, like these last 10, more than I did the top 10, the first 10 to 15, because I had forgot that's how they built the episodes, and that's how they were structured. But once I realized, okay, cool, that's what you're doing, I'm not going to use this against you. I enjoyed the show a lot more. But the dialogue and heavy dialogue and all of the meticulous details, and I know some people like that stuff. Somebody like a Brennan likes to see all that behind the scenes, world building, character development. I don't really need all that, especially something like this, because what I do like about it is the fight scenes, and I say this again, the fucking sound design on this anime is honestly GOAT level. I haven't seen anything is better than this one. I'm definitely going to pay more attention to this moving forward. But more specifically, Mika and that rope and the sound that it was making, oh my God. Like, if I can find a way to make that, I know we don't really do fucking text tones no more, but if I can find a way to make that my text tone or something that pops up or any type of notification, like, I would try to figure that out, because that fucking sound, it was so crisp. The movement, how the Gundams were moving was amazing. The animation that fit the sound, like, it was beautiful to watch. Those, and usually Gundams, and I feel like I'm repeating myself from the last time, but like usually with Gundams or anything mech, you don't really get to see the movement and how stuff feels. And you felt everything. You felt every punch. You felt every slice. You felt every stab. Everything. Even them getting shot up from the sky, you felt that shit. And you felt that shit in a more literal sense, with all those characters dying. So you felt it in more ways than one. These Stretcher episodes give a 6,900, and then overall for the show, I give it a 6,200. And then would I recommend it? I would preface though with how it's built and say, hey, they're gonna punch you in the mouth, they're gonna ease up on you, then they're gonna punch you in the mouth again. And I'm gonna just preface with that and let people know. But I would recommend it.
Okay. Sheesh. Rob?
Yeah, my likes. I thought, yeah, these last 10, 15 episodes really hit super hard. It is a lot of dialogue, a lot of setup, but I feel like that setup and dialogue is very important to kind of set up these dominoes in a row. And so it definitely had its lulls, but these last 10 to 15 just went, it was banger after banger. I mean, these guys were going nuts. So I really like that. I like the action. The music I thought was really good, in addition with the sound design. And I appreciate they didn't pull any punches. Like you could see the writing was on the wall after the last stretch. Like I felt like these episodes maybe didn't hit me quite as hard as I thought the previous 5 did, because after Shino missed that shot, I was like, anybody's number is up at this point. I wasn't surprised to see anybody go after that. But if I had to nitpick on something, my dislikes on this, I think I mentioned this to Brennan. I mean, obviously you see some people come through for Taiwaz in the end. The turbines come back for them. Taiwaz kind of helps them out a little bit here and there. Makanai, repays a favor, but I was really surprised that the people of Mars really didn't have any sort of role in helping them out a bit, like considering that they were like their home team, number one, number two, that they literally just saved them from that mobile armor that was coming to destroy them, and they laid it out all on the line. I was a little surprised there wasn't more of a like revolution of the people that were like, no, Tekkadan wouldn't do that, but I guess they were using that to tell a larger story point, which I think still has a lot of truth behind it, that people can be manipulated by the media. But that's being me, nitpicky. I really like the show. I'm definitely the type of guy that loves world building, that loves lore. I will read I'll watch a Game of Thrones episode and then go read the books and then like go on to all the Wikipedia articles, like, because I want to know how all that shit works. So for me, those dialogue scenes didn't bother me as much. I really like the world building aspect, and the action was on point. So this stretch of episodes, I would give an 8,000 to. The show as a whole, I would give a 7,800. And would I recommend it? I already have. Another buddy of mine that I know is into like big world building type stuff. I was like, this show is right up your alley. Check it out. And I know he's watched 2 episodes so far, and he's like, I'm in. So yeah.
All right. For me, this show is for these stretches of 5. I accidentally typed in something, and my spoiler was Mikazuki's death, and I was like, Shannon,
poor Keenan. That's the one, like, you could guess.
What was the picture?
It was like him dead. It was like Mikazuki death, and it was him dead in his that last shot of him kind of like
hanging in the.
So how did that affect everything for you?
So for me, now, like, even when the times I do read spoilers at times when it shows that I like really like, I was like, now I'm just interested to see how this goes. How is he going to go out? Is he going to go out like a boss? Is it going to be a last move where he just, I wanted to see how it's going to be done. And man, this show, I didn't want to like it. I told Brennan before, I didn't want to. I'm not a mech guy or whatever. I just didn't want to like this shit. I'll go on my dislike first. My dislike is just Julieta. Julieta and
so much.
Whatever the Dreadhead dude, I forgot his name.
Yeah.
Like those two can die a slow. Well, one of them did die a slow death, so thank you. But both of them should have died a slow death. I don't have too many other issues with the show. I talked about, y'all always get on me about action, bro. Like I didn't have an issue with the dialogue on the show like that. It didn't really bother me. I understood it. A lot of it made sense. Bringing in the media. I always like seeing how the media manipulate stuff like that and be like, oh, okay, this is what they doing out here. This is the same as fucking regular. You know what I'm saying? My likes. I kind of liked how McGillis got this armor and didn't do shit, because in most anime he would have been a boss after that. He would have been murdering everybody. He probably would have turned on Tekkadan and be like, who the fuck want what now? I thought he was gonna be the one that killed Mika, to be honest, and be like, who want what, bruh? Like I got this thing. Who, you can't beat me if I just beat your best guy. So I like that they didn't do that, and he got smoked out pretty much. So So for me, overall, this show
Last
was
5 episodes first.
Damn. Last 5 episodes. I told Brennan yesterday. I said, "Fuck this show," because it's so bittersweet. Because it was. You had Akihiro. He probably was like my favorite character on the show, and I appreciate how he went out. Even though him and Mika died, but I loved how I forgot his name again. Start with the T. Ended up taking out old dude.
Takaki? No.
He, the one that shot the dude at the end.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
so it's like they got some type of justice. You know what I'm saying?
His name was Ride.
Right.
Ride. R-I-D. Yeah, Ride.
Yeah. So the way he took him out at the end, I was like, all right, that felt good. I feel like I didn't lose fully on this show because I felt like I was like, damn, man, I lost my 2 guys pretty much. So he got what he needed. For me, overall on this show, I would give overall on these 5 episodes, I would give it 8,100. I enjoyed the hell out of these last 5, to be honest with you. And overall for the whole thing, I would give 8,000.
Jeez.
Would I recommend this show? Yeah, but I would say too. I would probably say I would always ask and say, what are you into? And I might say, season 1 might be a little slow, but season 2 is all fucking worth it. Just like everybody else told me. Everybody said the same thing. Season 1 is slow, but season 2, trust me, bro, is worth it. And this shit was worth it. This is our first season 2 on this show. I hear great things about season 2, Yu Yu Hakusho also. But this shit lived up to the hype. Some shows don't live up to the hype, man. This actually did. It gave me so much emotions throughout this whole thing. I didn't cry. I didn't end up crying, but I will say I understand 100% why anybody would have cried watching this show.
I just feel loved right now. You guys like the show. I'm so happy you guys like the show. I don't even have nothing petty to say about that. I don't even have nothing petty to say about it. I'm honestly just like, I'm happy to share something that meant a lot to me with y'all that y'all enjoyed. Like, real talk. Dislikes are that I still felt all the feels exactly the same way I did the second time through that I felt the first time through. I did not enjoy that. Like, I didn't expect it. I was like, I already know what's going to happen. It's fine. But you don't remember the details. You know what I'm saying? You don't remember what Orga was saying as he continued to get back up after being shot and then still walk forward as he's giving motivational advice to the kid whose life he just saved. You know what I'm saying? Like, get the fuck out of here. So either way, I didn't like that I blubbered like a little hoe again and was texting Rob while it was happening. I didn't enjoy that. Pedophilia as well. I was texting Rob while I was crying, just like, but I was hurt.
He was hurting.
And my likes are the same thing, actually. I like that I could get those same emotions out of me. I like that this show really makes you give a fuck. It really goes hard for that. And I like that every person that's watched it since I've showed it to them has enjoyed it as much as you guys, except for, I thought it was okay.
Ice is not having it.
And as much as the people whose opinions who matter to me on this podcast. Real talk. Last 5 episodes, I give an 8,000 show overall, 8,100. Just so I can give the highest. I was going to give it 8,000, but 8,100. Love this show. Love everything it does. I just want it's my show.
Dick, bro.
I was like, the whole time I was like, 8,000.
You gonna give these last 5, which is probably the best of these episodes, a lower score than the overall score.
8,100.
So you like this show more than Demon Slayer?
What did I rate Demon Slayer? Yeah, I thought it was like 8,500 or something like that. Yeah. I like Demon Slayer more, for sure. But this is definitely, for me right now, this is definitely top 5, without question for me personally. Yeah, this definitely makes it. After watching it again, I'm like,
out of all the anime you watch, this is top 5.
I don't care. I don't care why
the whole show or the season.
I don't care how Ice, like, after you put your top 5 online and the whole internet thought you were an idiot, I don't care that you judge my top 5. Like, you put yours out, it has more downvotes than any YouTube video we've ever created ever.
That was my 100 video. My top 5, everybody was like, I respect that. Like,
actually, I think our most disliked video is everybody thinking our Ninja Scrolls review is the movie Ninja Scrolls, and they're just like, "Where's the movie? These dudes are just talking."
Hilarious.
So that I think is our most disliked video. So,
wait, did we not?
No, they were looking for the actual movie.
No, we did. They just thought. They were looking. They thought
it was the actual.
They went
movie.
Ninja Scrolls into YouTube search bar and saw Ninja Scrolls movie. So I changed the title to be like review, because people were just like, "Where's the movie? All this is talk," and it's like it's in the description, man. It's a podcast. What are you talking about?
That don't count, man. But yeah, I mean, yeah, I just finding a little bit of love that he got from the videos.
No, the Hunter,
I
I tell you, they fucking did win hard on that.
I mean, ISIS top 5 was a safe top 5. It's not a top 5 that's necessarily disputable that it's trash, because it's pretty much a lot of people's top 5, because with those 5 animes are pretty much interchangeable within people's top 5 to 10.
Yeah, everybody was like, I respect it. Like most of the comments was like, oh, okay, cool. Like I'm with it.
I feel like nothing. I feel like a lot of our top 5s, to be honest, is probably maybe Brennan's with. To putting Iron Blood Orphans in there, but I feel like none of ours necessarily are special because it would
some
be
people hated on his Tokyo
almost
Ghoul
damn near the
post
basics.
thrown out there.
Yeah, that was. But overall, people were fucking with it. That was like, oh shit, Monster, like fuck yeah, Brotherhood, fuck yeah. It's just I don't know. I think we're good. I don't know.
Well, anyways, that is our recap for this whole season of Iron Blood Orphans season dose. Brennan's pick, he got a W out of this. I know he's happy. He feels even better that we actually, the majority of us fully enjoyed it. I think Rob's pick is next.
No, I think it's I think it's Ice actually, because we
Keenan is next, ain't
he? Did got a high school.
I just picked.
Keenan, you're next, then I'm after you.
What did Rob pick?
Rob did X-Men.
Yeah, that's right.
So you're next.
Okay, shit.
Hey man, Yu Yu Hakusho season 2.
He didn't have anything lined up.
I thought Rob was next. We'll see.
I love that show. I remember watching all of it. It was a long time ago, but I thought it was good.
We're about to go like on a stretch of season 2s. Ice is picking Tokyo Ghoul.
Tokyo Ghoul.
Season 2.
What's up, baby? Tokyo Ghoul.
That'll be your saving grace, because you said season 2 was
hard. Like I know when I do that, Brendan gonna go like he gonna find.
I'm gonna tell you my honest opinion.
Nitpick it just because.
I'm gonna tell you my honest opinion.
I wasn't a fan.
He's gonna be like 5,000? No, 5.
I'm gonna give you my honest opinion. I'm not gonna show the hate. I'm gonna give you my honest opinion.
He gonna just especially how I did Iron Blooded Orphans. Even if it's slightly, he was like, I should have gave it a 65. I'm gonna just give it a 6,000. Like I already know he gonna come
that's
with this
still
shit.
passing. That's still a C, right?
I'm just giving an example of like he gonna be slightly.
And our rating 9,000 is a D still. Yeah.
Yeah, so
I'm gonna say it's not. He didn't rate too bad.
Fucking Brendan, I said I would still recommend it. You fuckhead.
First of all, you're yelling at me when I disagree with you and said I would fuck shit over. I said I'll give you my honest opinion. So why are you coming at me right now?
No, I'm just saying because you was like, oh, no, YouTube, everybody on YouTube
and I also
fucking hated your top 5.
I just acknowledge that as well. What else you want, bro?
But no, I'm just saying that I still said I would recommend it.
But why did it come with a fuck you, motherfucker? So like I didn't just acknowledge all the other things you said.
Because it always does. It always goes with it. That goes unsaid.
I mean, does it not?
You just said it out loud this time.
Wait, so do y'all want to do a movie first and then, or go straight into the next pick?
I've been asking to do this movie for a bunch of times. I want to fucking watch this movie, and I forgot the name of something. Fireflies, whatever the Fireflies movie is, because people keep recommending it. And I want to watch it because it's like y'all talking about emotional. They say it's one of the most emotional shit anime movies ever.
Wait, we'll talk. We'll decide
with emotion, but they gotta have some stuff. Yeah. All right. So go ahead and drop your stuff, guys.
At Brennan the Best.
Look at
I caught it.
Brennan.
What was it?
You did.
That's a Brennan with the O-N, by the way. BRENNON, the best.
Hey, they be fucking your name up in the YouTube comments, boy.
They sure
do.
They
be fucking your name.
I never heard Brennan until I met Brennan. So I was like Brennan or something like that, but
go back to them YouTube comments. Every other way that you can spell Brennan, they have spelt it. And I'm like, God damn, I ain't even heard. Why is it an X in his name? Like, what the fuck are y'all? What are y'all doing?
So Brennan is best on.
Do you have a Cash App that they can send money to?
Happy birthday! I mean, if you want to give me money for my birthday, yeah, I do. I think it's I would say my Venmo is Mr. Producer Face, and my Cash App is Lando Swaggins. LANDOSWAGGINS.
Oh God! Please send to his Venmo.
Mr. Producer Face Venmo. Thank you guys.
I love it, Brennan. I'm here for it.
Ice Dot McGowan on everything.
RV Danger on Instagram. RV Danger 44 on Twitter.
Where can they find
anime-
your dad, Rob, to watch his lives?
Shout him
He's
out.
on. Show my dad love. He's Harvey Fonda on YouTube. I mean, he's also. I think he's RV Fonda on Twitter. You can check him out there. But his music is on YouTube under Harvey Fonda.
Dope. Animation podcast on everything. SHUN Shun podcast on everything, and Cash App those a little bit of money. We'll try to get the what's it called? Patreon and stuff cracking soon. And hopefully we can be in a new studio soon.
You sound like Dr. Dre, bro.
Dr. Dre.
It's like Detox is coming. Like Detox is coming. I'm gonna drop it.
Detox is never coming, so the Patreon will be coming before fucking Detox. That's for damn sure. Keenan Baker on every single thing, man. All stuff, all platforms. And make sure you answer all the questions about this show. Let us know what you think overall of season 2, Iron Blooded Orphans. And think I'll tune in into another episode of Animeshun.
And so anime was solved forever.